Our journey begins. It is day 79, August 18, 2024. And I want to delve into something that I was thinking about yesterday during the plane ride home. For some reason, during the plane rides home from some vacation or something like that, it has the ability to kind of give you a different perspective and is a good time to reflect on your current state of life. And I was reflecting on my current state of life and had a couple interesting thoughts. So there were some thoughts in here, and then ChatGPT kind of summarized them, and I want to go through each one of them. So the feeling of staleness, which I've realized, and I was trying to put, it started shortly after I started doing these daily videos. I just thought it was probably like overworking myself a little bit, not relaxing enough or properly. But then I was thinking about it, and I was thinking how before that my focus had been a lot on on making myself the best person possible, and all these interesting ideas and things I could do to help make the world a better place. But then I on the plane ride I was thinking, well, maybe it's because with once I started these videos, I was thinking daily about the ideas of the movement and the ideas about living this sort of selfless life and like not pursuing one's own desires as much as pursuing the desires of helping other people and eliminating suffering. And I thought, well, and it seemed, and during those moments of thinking, I was like, well, maybe that's the issue, is that evolutionarily, humans are designed to care about themselves and where they're going and sort of think in that sort of egotistical manner. And so when I'm shooting past that for something greater than myself, that might result in a feeling of staleness. It could also be that I'm coming up to my deadline and there's so much more to do. Like if I pull this over, I don't know how it's possible to film all of this in the next couple of weeks and release the movie and then make stuff happen after the movie. I really don't know. And like sure I have starting the narrative one filming on Wednesday. And like I don't even know if I like the narrative one right now. Like I'd like to change it all up. And so there's that uncertainty in like, okay, well, is this even close to like a decent idea? Anyway, so summarizing my feelings as being stale, essentially, like a stale cracker. This could involve discussing the specific emotions and experiences associated with this feeling. Yeah. So specific emotions were basically like lack of passion, sort of losing that joy of doing. I don't know if it's just getting too routine. Um, Sort of like maybe I was just exercising like too much, and because that's sort of addicting. Then when you're not exercising, then it's like, oh, that's not quite as hard. But then because you're exercising too much, then you're like too tired to like think clearly. And like that could be an aspect because I did kind of up my exercising recently as well. Once it kind of got warm enough to be outside all the time. Specific experiences would be the one weekend I was just kind of like taking my time. Like I didn't really work too much on the movement, just trying to relax, trying to regroup. But in general, like I like pursuing this list of things that I want to do, but I mean, I'm questioning even more than ever, like, is this, but like, so here's the thing, like, a lot of times I'll be able to think logically through some different things. But because I've done that so heavily for the past several months, it's gotten to the point where, like, every thought I'm thinking, like, I've had before. I've already thought through that idea. I already know what that's going to end up being, and that's not going to bring any solution. So that's sort of been the experiences. I guess I wasn't expecting it to feel this way. I guess I was expecting during this dedicated routine time that I would be sort of in more of a flow state. But I guess realistically, I should have anticipated this. In fact, I think I have anticipated this, which is why I've just kept going. And I still think, like, the ultimate solution to this little talk is that, yeah, I'm just going to keep going. And if I feel stale, I feel stale. That's fine. But it does raise a question, like, if I feel stale, and I'm sort of trying to live an example of what someone who wants to do the right thing should do, and then I'm basically telling people, oh, you should live a stale feeling life, or something like that. Now, it could also just be like some other random circumstances. Life is always so complex, it's hard to pinpoint it on any one thing. So I guess in that respect, it should be possibly expected and whatnot. Current routine. Analyze your current routine. What are transparencies? How it's contributed to feeling stillness? I think I've been challenging myself physically somewhat, but I haven't been challenging myself socially, or I feel like I could still challenge myself more. Although I feel like on the day-to-day, on the average, that I'm getting and doing a lot of stuff. And I feel like that creates the opportunity for me to have to accomplish a lot of things. But perhaps after a while, routines get stale. That is how things go. But if it's the most productive thing to do, then it's the greatest thing to do. I also feel like, well, maybe I'm just slacking on some areas of the routine. Like, but I don't know that I am necessarily. I don't know what else to do because I'm so focused on this, and like takes up most of my time. There's not a whole lot of time to do other stuff. Now, I always wanted to be doing both things this year, to be doing simultaneously this main project and simultaneously becoming the best possible version of myself. And I've been somewhat not researching as much how to become the best version of yourself, which maybe that's the component that I need to make sure that I'm bringing in to my everyday schedule. Okay, yeah, that's a decent takeaway. See, I just said a decent takeaway would be doing more My Hero's Journey qualities research. Doing more and different meditations outside. I haven't really been doing meditations outside. But that always seems to be key. If you can do a great meditation, those are key, I feel like. I feel like I've been really dedicated on the exercise front, on the eating healthy front. I feel like I could still improve my diet, though. There's always improvement in the diet because it's so complicated. Like, you'd think there's a one size fits all, and It's just everyone's stomach is different, everyone's digestion, and I'm trying to balance, like, achieving a lot of fitness goals with, like, the longevity goal. Still think I could improve eating and exercising more. Although it's been pretty good. I've been doing, like, especially the last 2 weeks before vacation, and then during vacation with the marathon and some other running time and stuff, and a bunch of hiking. I mean, I definitely been doing okay. Anyway. See, I'd like to get in the flow state more. Perhaps I need to wake up at 2:30 every day. Oh, I need to reintroduce the daily mantra. And see, when you have commitments all the time, it gets to the point where it's just part of life. Like, if you don't do this thing this day, then you're gonna fail. But then when you do it every day without fail, and you don't get punished for it because you were doing the right thing, then then it's like maybe it's too easy at that point. Yeah. Hmm. Maybe my routine is just too easy. It should be challenging to meet daily goals. Maybe that's what it is. My the bar has been raised so much because I've just been consistently doing the right thing every day that I haven't really been forcing myself to get better and better and better. I'm trying to balance that with not getting burnt out and everything too. So consider the timeline you set for yourself. How does this deadline affect your motivation? I think the deadline is sort of cause for concern. I think I need to have a daily countdown and visualize completing everything on time. Yeah, you know what? I should probably also do more visualization exercises. Because when I was doing those, it was great. I should replace reading pretty much useless stuff and podcasts that are pretty much useless with motivation and qualities time. Also, I want to stay more up to date with the time tracking and daily note taking tracking. This is pursuing selfless desires. Dive into the idea that pursuing selfless goals has been demotivating. So, like I was explaining, I don't know what else to say besides what I already explained. Yeah, I already explained this. Symbiosis. Explore the possibility that selflessness and personal motivations can be symbiotic. Well, are they supposed to be symbiotic? Or impact of selfless thinking on motivation. Investigate how selfless thinking might be contributing to the stale feeling from an evolutionary psychological perspective. How might you adjust over time? Yeah, so as you saw, there were some thoughts that I had. Maybe Spiral Dynamics has an answer to this question. Maybe I'm supposed to be feeling stale. Maybe that's just the adjustment period. And then eventually it will switch over to where like my actual goals are dependent on other people doing well, which would be, but that's technically out of my control, which would go against like philosophies of Stoicism and other philosophies of living a decently fulfilling and happy life. I've always thought that life isn't about making your own self happy. It's about the happiness of others. I suppose the question the probably the answer to this is that you are part of the whole. You are part of the entire suffering. Making the world best place includes yourself. It doesn't mean your personal desires trump the desires of others, but that they are indeed symbiotic. That by helping yourself, which has the highest potential of being super effective, you can then help others. I guess I've just been so concentrated on how I can help others that I often neglect, like, when I think of the future now, I don't think of what my life could look like. I think of what the world should look like for humanity. And I just think of myself as being nothing in the future, which I think is an enlightened way of thinking. But then that could be bringing about this feeling of staleness as well. because biologically my brain is like, oh, you're the most important thing. I'm only going to work hard if you're going to get the benefits of whatever you're doing. So perhaps it is just one of those things where I have to sort of reorient biology. I suppose that is probably the answer, because I had sort of reframed the becoming the best version of myself in order to help other people, rather than saying, "Oh, just become the best version of yourself so that you can live a better life in the future, so that your life can be happier and everything." Where I think probably the better answer to that is we are all part of the whole, and the whole is what we are trying to improve. By improving yourself effectively, you can improve. That's how you're able to improve the whole. But essentially, there's probably a really good analogy for this. Maybe I'm going to ask about this. I'm gonna see if GPT has any thoughts on analogies. The oxygen mask analogy, the garden analogy. Here, let me pull this over. The oxygen mask, the garden analogy. I don't know if viewing myself as a keystone species is exactly humbling, uh, is exactly being humble or anything, but it's probably the one that makes the most sense to me. What about let me save this. Analogies for Probably the collective assent analogy. Essentially being like, because I guess, because all of the other ones are like, you need to take care of yourself in order to be part of the team. But then it's like, if the goal is only ever to be part of the team, that's and accomplish the team's goal and not really your own, then that leads to probably that same feeling of staleness as compared to someone who's like part of the team, but in order to like get their own goal and to like do something or another to like become the better person or climb a status game. Perhaps this is just a natural feeling and I'll get over this and this is what everyone should go through. So that's where I'm just not sure. I'm not sure if there are probably people who somewhat know this. There are probably people who think they know this but have no idea what they're talking about. Or are just obsessed with their own opinions. Whereas this last one is like, in order to get to that actual state that we all want, we have to work as a team. There's no choice but to work as a team. And that means letting go of some of your own desires. And that means feeling a little bit stale about it. But then once you're there, you're not going to be feeling stale. Or while you're on the journey, climbing the mountain together to get to that place that you could not get to alone, your goal transitions to the group's goal, and that gets exciting. So there's hope. There's hope for sure. Perhaps in 5-10 years, I'll look back at this and be like, oh, he had some interesting thoughts, but not in the right directions, or I'm glad he thought through this particular aspect. That is one thing. You're supposed to be able to talk with your future, with the best possible future version of yourself. Do I do that? I mean, should I be doing that more? Probably. If I were to do that about this video, yeah, I'd come up with some of those thoughts. Anyway, so that was kind of my interesting thought about that stuff. I don't necessarily think it's life-changing, but I think it's an important thought to have, because I have been wondering for a while about this question. All right, thank you.